Come on. Diego Pavia is going to go to the college football playoff, possibly. Live in the Bank Plus studio, we welcome in our friend Steve Robertson. He joins us on the Out of Bounds show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Heartbreaking and devastating loss down in Gainesville. Had an opportunity to win it. The pick at the end, there were many other head-scratching calls throughout the game. But, didn't give your crew, Cal Ferry, an opportunity to kick the field goal, threw the ball. Somehow Florida knew the play, which surprises me, to be honest with you. And the rest is history. So we welcome in Steve Robertson, genespage.com, 247 Sports, the Boneyard Podcast. And Steve joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Steve, when you saw they were throwing the football, that last play, what went through your mind?
I was shocked. I really was. I thought you run the football play there, set up for the field goal. And granted, it's not a chip shot. Like, I've seen some people out here like, oh, you just kick it. Well, yeah, I just kick it too. But, we're talking about 45, 46, 47 yards. It was going to be far from a gimme, but you got to give Ferry an opportunity there. At the very least, you run the football, set up the field goal kick. If you miss the kick, you miss the kick. But I think you got to give him an opportunity to kick there.
Were you surprised at what Jeff Lebby said in the post-game presser when you asked him about the play call?
No, because, and I think when you're a play caller and you're a leader and you're an organizer, you certainly don't second-guess yourself in public-type situations. But, I think Lebby made that play call because he believed it was going to work. And let's be honest, if it had worked, we'd be sitting here bragging today about, man, what a gutsy play call. But I think sometimes discretion's a better part of valor. I know you want to get 5, 6, 7 more yards to make it a little bit easier, but there's just so much risk involved in all that. And you saw Mississippi State, they paid for it.
All right, what do you think about the temperature in the room from people that you've talked to and on the Gene's Page message board as far as, people being devastated at the way that the game played out?
Yeah, that's part of the deal, right? And, I guess the thing that frustrates people the most is you don't get that Florida team often, right? You don't play them that much anyway. But to have a chance to go on the road and win in the swamp, it doesn't come around very often, right?
Oh.
And to have the ball and momentum and the crowd chanting "Fire Billy now," you got to make that happen. You've got to go out there and win that game. I think, and that's the thing. It's the pang of losing, but it really feels like you didn't get beat. You lost the game. And I think that's what the sentiment is around the fan base today, is that it was up to Mississippi State, and Mississippi State just simply didn't execute when they needed to most.
Steve Robertson, genespage.com, 247 Sports. He joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Dogs lose 23-21 and threw a pick at the end. Didn't give their talented kicker an opportunity to kick the ball. What did you make of the field goal by Cal Ferry where they said it wasn't good, Steve?
I thought it was good live, because the way their crowd reacted, and that's what I always have to gauge, right? We can't see the kick from the end zone. We're just kind of dependent on the state students in Starkville and the Florida crowd. When that kick went through, there was no response until they ruled that it was not good. And, I've watched the replays. It looks to me like it sneaks inside the top of the right upright. But, they didn't conduct an opinion poll. The referee just made a call, and then they tell us later it's not reviewable. And if that's the case, that's got to change. That's got to be a change in the rules that field goals aren't reviewable. All scoring plays should be reviewable.
All right, so can they overcome this? They had a heartbreaking loss against Tennessee in which they had 1:55 to go in the game, and they threw it 3 times, and it looked like their head coach and OC got sped up there. It looked like he got sped up again in Gainesville. I think the question that we're getting this morning on the text line is how long for the in-job training, Steve. Your thoughts on where the fan base is and that play call and how long it's going to take Lebby to get up and running.
Well, I think the first thing you got to look at is how many games last year came down to a play. Not very many, right? State, to show that we've made progress. And listen, I'm not just about the progress report. I want to win football games. But to say that this program is not exponentially better than it was last year is to be short-sighted. You've had 2 opportunities to beat 2 SEC perennial blue bloods this year, but Jeff's got to win those games, right? That's the thing. It's like you get so close to victory, and then you don't get it, and I think that stings even worse. And I think losing by 3 touchdowns sometimes is easier to deal with because that's not always in your control. What happened against Tennessee and especially Florida was within Mississippi State's control. And I just worry sometimes it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Well, here we go again. Somebody somewhere has got to step up and make a big play, similar to what Vernon Thompson did in the Arizona State game, and not just think about playing to lose. State's got to go play to win and then win. And, can they make it out of this? Yeah. Most people weren't expecting them to win in Florida. And I think that's what makes it so gut-wrenching is like when the schedule came out, you're probably thinking, well, that's a loss. And then you go down there because you never know what everybody's going to look like by the time you face them. And you should have won the football game. And I think that's where the misery lies is you had an opportunity to get one more step closer to bowl eligibility and then have, almost a half dozen more opportunities to get there, and you've missed that opportunity.
Steve Robertson on the Out of Bounds show. So Florida was playing 2 freshman corners and 2 other new starters in the secondary. I mean, it was all lined up. I kind of felt like it wasn't just the last play call, Steve, that Mississippi State should have been up throughout the game, at least a touchdown. What did you see?
I think that's fair. I think that's absolutely fair. It's like you look at that second quarter especially. I mean, State comes out very methodical, goes down the field and scores, kind of has the crowd on their heels a little bit, and then you don't do anything, until late in the ball game. We got to manage the middle of the game better. And then you had Brennan Thompson on the post route open for a touchdown. You overthrow that. Xavier Gayton, very talented guy, fumbles inside the red zone. You missed the field goal. I mean, you could make a case they should have been up 10 points at the break. And I think everybody focuses on the last play because that's the last play, right? But there were so many plays in that first half where State had a chance to get separation and didn't do it. Those plays count just as much as that last one does. And I don't think that can just be washed away and just say, well, if Blake Shapen threw a pick on that play. There were so many other opportunities for Mississippi State to get some ground, to make up and put Florida, that crowd, maybe turn them into Mississippi State fans and have them chanting Fire Billy in the first half. Those are the things that I think shouldn't be lost in this conversation. Is that Mississippi State should have been in control of that football game much earlier.
Woo! All right, so Lebby decided to run it back with Blake Shapen, and this is a big discussion on your board and on my show and everywhere else. And the bottom line is he has some mobility, but he is not a natural runner. He's not comfortable with it. He doesn't have that kind of football instinct to pull it down and go get yards. I think you have to have a dual threat running quarterback to win really anywhere now, Steve. I mean, look at Georgia on Saturday and what Gunnar Stockton did. This could cost Lebby, maybe not his job, but put him behind the 8 ball even more by running it back with a guy who really is not a threat to run the football. Is this something that Lebby could regret?
Well, I think, Jeff, when you first start this program out, you need a veteran guy, right? And Blake was a guy that he knew, that he was comfortable with. Blake can run it just well enough to keep you honest, but he's not really a playmaker in that regard. Like that draw play they ran on that fourth quarter drive, it was great. It was well executed. It was well timed. And it took everybody by surprise. You look up when it's 20 yards down the field. And when that play happened, I thought, we're fixing to win this football game. Mississippi State is fixing to walk this thing off. What a great win for Lebby. The streak is over, But I do think moving forward, Camario's a lot more dynamic. in the quarterback run game. And I think that creates more opportunities for you in the throw game, too, just because of the fact you have to respect the quarterback run. They have run Shapen a little bit more on some design quarterback runs, but it's just to kind of give them something to prepare for. You need a guy that can do a little bit of both.
All right. So this Saturday is another opportunity. Texas is not good on offense. They're really good on defense. I don't think this is going to be like Florida's secondary with 2 freshman corners and 2 other new starters. I don't think Kwiatkowski is going to let Shapen and Lebby and Brennan do their thing all afternoon. They're going to have to run the football to get this thing rolling, right? And to have a chance to win in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think so, and I think you've got to shrink the game a little bit too, and that's what Texas wants to do too. I mean, Arch is struggling a little bit too. Kind of had a tough night in Lexington. State's got to replicate that, but Texas is allowing just over 11 points a game. This may be a game you win in the teens because defensively they're absolutely elite. Offensively, it's been kind of pedestrian, which has been a surprise. But this Texas defense is for real. This Texas pass rush is for real. They got a couple guys that are game wreckers, and so you've got to find a way to perhaps make some plays in special teams to kind of shorten the field a little bit. But I don't think this is going to be a shootout. I think it's going to be a relatively low-scoring game, and I think Mississippi State needs it to be a relatively low-scoring game because I just don't think you're going to go put up 25, 30 points against that defense.
No. What are you hearing on Fluff? There seem to be people chirping that he could play. He may not take the bulk of the snaps, but he could play 8-10 snaps. Booth played really well. He had his best game against Florida. What are you hearing on Fluff Bothwell?
Yeah, we'll see. It's going to depend on how he responds to treatment. But I'll be honest with you, if it's only 8 to 10 plays, I sit him another week. You need him to be 100% down the stretch, and I don't think him playing 8 to 10 plays is going to affect this ball game. Okay. It could lead to a recurrence of the injury. And, you're asking me my opinion. I think Fluff obviously is going to be back, but if he can't be 80-85%, I think you're better rested in the rest of the week. But we'll see. I was told we won't really know until Wednesday. So no firm timeline, but. Yeah, if you had a healthy Fluff, you'd feel a whole lot better about your prospects this week.
Okay. What am I missing? What else? The defense has played a lot. I know Florida's not good on offense, but they played. I thought the 2 intercept. Man, this secondary. I mean, talk about what Paul Rhodes and these guys have been able to do, because this is a very opportunistic secondary that now you kind of look up halfway through the season has been able to throw up some really good interception numbers, right? In PBUs.
And what's interesting about that is, like, early in the year, Kelly Jones was getting all these great ratings, and everybody's like, well, they hadn't played anybody. Well, they have now, and nobody's completing the pass on Kelly Jones. And then you look at what Brian Lanier did. I mean, and that's the guy, too, you needed that second year, right? We talk about JUCO guys. Sometimes it takes 8, 9, 10 games. That ball game Brian Lanier had, that's probably going to be, in the event that he gets a chance with a pro team, it's going to be because of what he did against Florida. I mean, incredibly athletic play. And then, of course, the big sack, right, on that last possession for Florida. He reads it right, and he destroys DJ Lagway in that backfield. I think Paul Rhodes, Mike McIntyre, kind of combined with the returning assistant coaches, have made this a much more formidable defense. And the defense has played well enough to win. And I would say in every game, other than save that fourth quarter at A&M.
Yeah.
And we've talked about that beginning of the year. We just need a defense to be good. I think they're between good and really good. They're not an elite defense. They don't get to the quarterback quite enough. But this is a defense that can win you games. We just need the offense to carry their weight.
Well, and that's what people are talking about. The offense has not – I mean, they haven't been that good since Lebby's been here. Now, I understand Shapen got knocked out against Florida last year, and you had to play a freshman in Michael Van Buren. But your points per game in conference play are mad. And a lot of those were garbage points last year when you were down big. So do you see by going with Shapen for the first 2 years, I mean, what do you see from this offense? They're not going to turn the corner until next year, and that is if Camario is as good as advertised. Where are you with that?
Well, I think there's meat on the bone for this year, and that's the thing. You got to keep learning and getting better. It's just like that Arizona State game. Those things don't happen in Mississippi State very often. I still think there's a few more, bullets in the clip in that respect. So, no, I'm not ready to just kind of punt on this year and say, well, they'll be better next year. I think they'll be more dynamic at quarterback next year, but I think Blake Shapen's still capable of getting this team to a bowl.
All right. Are you buying that Lebby does some really good things on offense, but has missed on the evaluation process for the quarterback position?
I don't know that I would go that far. The thing that I go back to with all of this stuff, it's like when you feel like you're going to win, when you expect to win, and then when you don't win, it's devastating. When you don't expect to win and then you get close, it's like, oh, well, it's a moral victory. Nobody can subscribe to that. This is all about winning and losing. And last year, how many times, and you mentioned that all these garbage points, like State will put up these points after the game has been decided. Well, the games are a lot closer, but you still have to find a way to make those plays when the game matters most. Now, it matters a lot longer these days because State's been able to stay in games and not be down 2 or 3 scores at the half. But somebody has to step up and make a play for this offense to win a game like that, to win that tie game. Tennessee was right there. Florida was right there. You've got to find a way for somebody to get you over that hump and get you into the win column.
Okay. Anything else on injuries? Was there anybody lost on Saturday?
I don't think so. Of course, we'll learn a little bit later today. But it's an SEC week, and maybe a situation where Levis kind of waits for the Wednesday availability report. But we're not expecting any surprises. But I think State went down to Gainesville with about as healthy as you could be at this point in the year, safe bluff. And so I think in that respect, things have kind of worked in their favor. But you got to go find a way to beat Texas. Period. Go find a way to beat Texas.
Steve Robertson, genespage.com, 247 Sports, the Boneyard Podcast. He joined us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Steve, we'll talk later in the week. Thanks, man.
See you.
Yeah, devastating loss. And I just, when Wendy is asking me why they didn't run the football. So Wendy is not, she likes to watch like one game on Saturday. She needs it to be, either a Mississippi team in it or a big game, right? Wendy doesn't get up on Saturday morning and go, yes, it's game day. But she was watching the game, and I'm outside with the TV on, and she's in the living room, but I can see her through the glass. Does that make sense? So I'm on the lakeside, I'm watching, and, but I'm opening the door, throughout the game talking. And she's like, I don't understand why they didn't just run it and kick it. And I was like, it's really I agree. I don't know what to say. I don't know. You had an injury in a long time to talk about it. It was a bad call. And I don't blame the fan base for being upset.
I know we do say that, we would have liked for him to come out there and be like, well, this is a bad call. It just was. And I think we're and I do.
I would have just said, hey, look, hindsight, we should have run the football. I need to go back and look at the film. Our guys played their blanks off on the road.
Get in, get
out. And I apologize for what happened at the end. And then you're moving on. And then people are like, they're still upset.
Sure, but.
I have not received that many texts I can't remember when.
Man.
Maybe Lamona's. But I haven't received, I received texts from people who don't text me on a daily or weekly basis.
Right.
And from people who are really level-headed, and they were like, I'm irate.
Yeah.
Or I'm furious. Or I'm I'm disappointed for the fans and the players.
Right.
So that's where I am. Uncle Frank on the Golden Moon Casino text line. He says, my wife knew better than running that pass play.
Right.
Made me want to vomit, and I'm a Georgia fan. Coach Lebby should publicly apologize.
Yeah.
Uncle Frank, thanks for the text, man. I appreciate you listening. Your Georgia Bulldogs, man, I thought y'all, took a lot of heavyweight shots from Ole Miss on Saturday, and then all of a sudden you just win the fourth quarter 17-0. I'd have lost a lot of money. You didn't stop Lane in that offense. Was it the first 6 possessions they scored touchdowns? Sure. No, first 5. And goodness gracious. But Kirby and Georgia, you scared the you-know-what out of them. And there was a minute there I thought you were going to pull away.
Yeah.
But Uncle Frank, your team got a big win, and you've won at Tennessee, and you beat Ole Miss at home. Those are big wins in college football today. Huge wins. And we'll see what you can do the rest of the way. You've still got a mulligan left. You only have one loss. So Ole Miss still has a mulligan. Bama, Georgia, A&M has 2. Am I missing somebody else in the league? Ole Miss has another mulligan. Georgia has another. Bama has another. A&M has 2. Tennessee has no more wiggle room. LSU has no more wiggle room. And that's really it.
Yeah.
Oh, Missouri.
Oh, yeah.
Damn.
Golly.
Missouri still has a mulligan because they won in overtime against Auburn on Saturday night.
I know this is very.
And they got a schedule. Ole Miss has a schedule. Mizzou. Who does Mizzou have left?
Don't they have Vandy this week?
I know they got Mississippi State. Oh, Vandy's hosting game day.
Yeah.
That is so awesome for Diego Pavia
Go.
and Clark Lee Motors and Jerry Kill, who they hired, who's like kind of this, like Ernie Adams behind Belichick. Nobody knows him, but he's like a little, super smart, always in the lab type guy. I think that's what Lebby would have. Go get a veteran. Because I don't know if McIntyre and Rhodes have done that on the offensive side of the football. But anyway.
They're going to the playoffs.
Missouri?
Vandy.
We're live in the Bank Plus studio. Tom Luganville at 9:30.